Hello everybody, happy Monday. I hope you all had a lovely restful weekend and I hope you're feeling ready to do lots more learning this week. Now last week we learned a lot about Antarctica. We learnt about what it looks like there and what the weather is like and what animals live there. But this week we're going to learn about the Arctic, which is different from Antarctica. And hopefully by the end of this week you will be able to tell your grown-up at home what the differences are between Antarctica and the Arctic. So let's begin. Here is a picture of the world. This is a map of the world. And we know from our learning last week that Antarctica is down here. It's right at the bottom of our world in the southern hemisphere. Can you remember that? Good, well done. And Antarctica is a continent, isn't it? And it's the coldest continent in the world, okay? Now, the Arctic is not at the bottom of the world. The Arctic is at the top of the world, up here. And here these words say Arctic Ocean. So the Arctic is not a continent like Antarctica is. The Arctic is an ocean, and you sometimes hear it being called the Arctic Circle, okay? And that just means it's the circle of the top of the world, all the way up here. This circle is in the top of our world, and it's called the Arctic Circle, and it's got a big ocean called the Arctic Ocean, okay? So Arctic is right at the top in the far north. And it's got so much ice there that it acts as land, so it's a frozen ocean. And there are huge icebergs in the Arctic Ocean, a little bit like Antarctica, because Antarctica had icebergs as well. So there are icebergs in the Arctic Ocean. Can you remember what icebergs are? They are, well done, they are big pieces of ice that have broken off and are floating around in the ocean. Well done. Okay, so have a look here on this globe. You can see that the Arctic Circle is mainly the ocean here. So thinking about that and thinking about what Antarctica looks like, can you tell your grown-up if you think the Arctic Ocean and Antarctica are the same or are they different? So pause the video now and just have a little think about that. Welcome back, some really good discussions there. So there are some similarities between Antarctica and the Arctic. They're both very, very cold and have lots of ice. But they are different because Antarctica is a continent, isn't it? And the Arctic is mainly made up of the ocean. So well done. Now then, again, this is the Arctic Circle. Can you see the circle on the map? Now there are some countries that are in the Arctic Circle. So we've got the top end of places like Norway, Sweden, Finland. We've got Greenland, parts of Canada, some of Alaska, and the top of Russia here. So if these countries are in the Arctic Circle, do you think these countries are warm or are they cold? Pause the video now and have a think about what the weather might be like in these countries in the Arctic Circle. Welcome back, well done, some really good talk there. So you're right in saying that these countries could be very cold, couldn't they, because they're in the Arctic Circle and near the North Pole, so they must get very, very cold weather. And we've talked a little bit about Alaska before at school, and we know that it's often very dark and snowy in Alaska, so we know that that's a really cold place. And places like Norway and Finland, they're really cold and have lots of snow. And if you remember right to the start of this topic, when we were thinking about hot and cold places, I told you that I visited Lapland in Finland. And when I went to Lapland, it was so snowy and it was so cold. And that's why, it's because Finland, part of Finland, is in the Arctic Circle, so it's a very cold place. Well done. Now, some people do live in the Arctic. Now, thinking about the Antarctica that we learned about last week, do people live in Antarctica? No, they don't live there, do they? People can visit Antarctica, they can go and have a look around, and scientists can go and do some research there, but nobody lives there in a house, do they? But people do live in the Arctic because there are some countries that lie within the Arctic Circle. So this picture here is showing you a house that is in one of the Arctic countries. And this house is raised from the ground. It's not flat on the ground, is it? It's lifted up a little bit. Why do you think that might be? Why do you think the houses might be lifted up from the floor? That's right, well done, because it is so cold and there are lots of snow. The snow is very, very, very deep. The houses are risen from the ground so that people don't get snowed in their houses, and it helps to keep their houses a little bit warmer if they're not on the ground, because the ground can be really, really cold. So the next question I want you to think about is, would you like to live in the Arctic Circle? So pause this video now and talk with your grown-up about whether you would like to live in the Arctic Circle. Great discussions there, well done. And it's good to see that some of you would like to live there and some of you wouldn't like to live there. Now for me, I don't think I would like to live in the Arctic Circle because I think I would be too cold. I like the sunshine and I like the summertime, so I think I would be too cold living in the Arctic Circle. But you might be a person that likes the cold and you might like the snow. So well done for that good discussion there. Okay, so people who live in the Arctic, they sometimes travel around by a dog sled. You know what one of those is? That's right, you sit on the sled and the dog, or you stand on it or sit on it and the dog pulls it along the snow. And you can also travel by a snowmobile, which looks a little bit like a jet ski, but it's on the snow, and I've got some pictures of one of those to show you in a second. So there is some cars there, but most of the time, because it is so snowy, people have to travel on a sled or a snowmobile. So that would be quite fun, wouldn't it? And lots of people in the Arctic go ice fishing. So that means that they make a hole in the sea ice and they wait for the fish underneath to take the bait from their fishing rod. So they like to fish for their food, and it's a really good way of getting food in the Arctic because there are lots of fish in the ocean, and humans do eat fish, don't we? Okay, let's see what we can find out next. So scientists often visit the Arctic and they try and find new discoveries because there are lots of places in the Arctic Circle that no one has ever been to. And scientists can also measure the amount of sea ice. And they do this because the world is getting warmer. It could cause a lot of problems for the Arctic Circle because if the world gets warmer, the ice will start to melt. Well done, that's right. That's called global warming, and we touched on this a little bit last week. So the scientists have a very important job. They've got to keep making sure that the Arctic stays a frozen place because all the animals that live there depend on the ice and depend on the cold ocean, don't they, to survive? Okay, so scientists in the Arctic Circle do similar jobs to scientists that visit Antarctica, don't they? We talked about scientists in Antarctica last week, and they're doing the same sort of jobs, aren't they? Trying to find new discoveries and trying to measure the ice and the snow and look at the animals that live there. So I've got a few pictures to show you now of the Arctic Circle. So this is a picture of an iceberg. Can you see? It kind of looks like a little mountain, doesn't it? These bits here have broken off and they're floating in the sea. And I bet this seawater, this ocean here, would be really, really cold. This is the polar ice. So can you see how it's kind of broken off in little pieces? And I think these people here might be fishing in the ocean. Now these are the Northern Lights. So some countries in the Arctic Circle you can see the Northern Lights in the sky from there, and it's very, very beautiful, isn't it? Very, very beautiful. And I've put you a video of some Northern Lights on the PDF document for you to watch. Now here are our snowmobiles. Can you see they look a little bit like jet skis or quad bikes? And they glide along on the snow to help people get around. I think going on them would be lots of fun, wouldn't it? And here we've got your sledge. So you might have seen a sledge before. When it's been snowing in our country, you might have gone sledging down a big hill and you might have been on something like this. Ooh, who can tell me what this is a picture of? It is mountains. Well done. Can you see the snow across the top of the mountains? It must be very cold up there at the top of that mountain. And here there's lots and lots of snow in the Arctic. Like I said, in Lapland where I went, the snow was so deep that it went all the way up to my knees and I had to wear a snowsuit. So now I would like you to have a look at the PDF document that's just below this video, and there are lots of videos and websites that you can have a look at where you might find out some more information about the Arctic Circle. And what I would like you to do after you found out all this information is to just have a chat with your grown-up at home about what you think the Arctic might look like. What animals might live there? Would you like to go there? Why would you like to go there? And I would love to hear some of the things that you have been talking about. So happy exploring, have lots of fun, and I will see you soon. Bye!